All right, good evening, everybody. The time is 6:30, March 28th, 2023. It's the Abington Conservation Commission meeting. First item on the agenda, we're going to do the ANRAD discussion and possible vote for 161 North Quincy Street. We'll do the checklist last.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. That's me. He is my engineer that's...
I'm in here instead of Scott. Yeah, you're all set.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. Scott.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm running late. I'm like, oh my God. Sorry, guys.
No
No
problem.
problem.
No problem. I'll take care of it.
I mean, if we're waiting for somebody else, we can just do other stuff first.
No,
Okay.
he's fine. He's fine. I'm gonna take care of it
Okay.
for him. Yeah. Thank you, though. So I'm Matt Tavares. I'm representing JK Homegrid Engineering. So basically, this ANRAD is an updated plan from the 2015 ANRAD that was approved. We had the wetlands reflagged. We relocated everything. We have a new wetlands report. Minor changes to the old wetland line. It's basically the same. I don't know if you guys ever saw that old 2015 plan, but I do have one copy of it if you guys would like to look at it. I can show you.
Yeah, you want to just put it
Sure,
down?
put
Yeah.
it right here in the middle.
Yeah, no problem. But
Can you make copies of that, Tony?
we had the same company go out there and reflag everything. So it's not, we didn't switch anything up from that.
And would that be the same company that did this tongue?
Yep, the same company, yeah. It's noted on that, on the older plan as well. And if you guys have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, so I noticed you have several wetlands on here, but
Yep.
are they all BVWs?
I believe so, yes. Let me look at the report.
No, there's actually... if I
So,
may.
can you get up in
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
podium?
I apologize.
You need to just identify yourself and your address?
Yes, ma'am. Ed Zachary, 169 North Quincy Street, the owner of the 161 plot. I spoke with the botanist, and he said that the only area that's BVV, I believe?
BVW.
BVW, thank you, is the one all the way to the east, that large area that abuts Ames Knoll, that's definitely bordering. But the other two areas, he said, were isolated land subject to flooding. And he said, honestly, that they might not even rise to that level, but doing his due diligence, he's going to flag them. But he said he'd be happy to come and speak if he needs to defend his position on them, that they're barely even that. But definitely that eastern area that touches Ames Knoll, that large area is definitely BVW.
BVW, yeah.
But on your map, it says wetlands flagged by tongue, and it says wetlands up here, so I'm kind of confused.
Which ones, ma'am?
So
The A series and the B series?
So is this the old one or the new one?
Nope, this is the new one.
So the C series is the BVW, but in his report, he writes that the A and the B series are isolated lands, subject to...
flooding.
Thank you.
So one of the things that's required, if you're gonna make a determination that it's not a BVW and that it's an ILSF, are calculations. There are calculations for determining whether something is an isolated land subject to flooding, and those weren't included.
Is that in the report by any chance?
No.
The word he wrote?
I don't believe so, no.
No.
Okay.
They're not, so
Could you just tell me and I'll bring it back, whatever I need to bring?
Yeah, so there's, I forgot it's part of 310 CMR, I can't remember the specifics, but your botanist should know
Okay.
that specific, those calculations that are needed. Because
Calcu-
otherwise we're gonna
What are
assume
they
it's a
called again?
BVW.
The calculations?
It's just the calculations that are needed for
Okay.
isolated land subject to flooding. Your botanist should know what that
This is
is.
the full report right here.
Okay, and that would be for those two series, right? Because I know that the C series is definitely, but for the, where's his report?
It's in the back.
In the back, okay.
Yep, so it starts 2 pages before that.
Okay.
Copy back up.
Yeah, you doesn't include any calculations in there.
Yeah, A and B, that's what you guys are talking about, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just learning all this, I'm sorry. It's like really foreign language. But, okay, so I just need him to get his calculations for all three or just the A and B?
Well, it's only A and B, those are the only two you're claiming are
Yeah.
isolated land
Yep.
subject to
Yep.
flooding. So those are the only ones you would need.
His calculations?
The other one is, you're saying it's definitely.
Yeah, he's C, D, and E, he's saying are BBW.
Yeah, he says right here, it's C is extensively bordering vegetated wetlands, but then the A and the B, he says, they meet the definition of ISLF due to evidence of limited ponding or puddling to some degree. So, okay, so just ask him for the calculations.
Yeah, we need the calculations.
Sure, sure.
In terms of this plan, there's a lot of things that are missing.
Okay,
So one of the things is contour lines.
Okay.
Like there's a mention in the plan of how the land kind of is
Slopes.
like this and then slopes to, but we actually need to see those contours.
Contour lines.
Okay.
On here,
Yeah,
the
we can add
elevations.
those.
okay.
Buffer zones are not included
Okay.
on here.
Okay.
So we have,
Should
there's
I take
actually.
notes?
I don't worry about it.
This is all recorded, so you can play it back.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So if there's any questions, he can just go into the video and watch the discussion.
Okay, great, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have an NOI checklist that talks about color coding, which is super helpful. I know we technically don't have an ANRAD checklist, but we can discuss doing that another time.
Yeah.
But just having something indicating, you know, this is the 100-foot buffer zone, this is the 25 or 35-foot no disturb, those things
Okay.
are needed. So, I didn't see a flood insurance map in the calculation, or in the application.
Yeah, I don't think he included a flood map in here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nope, I don't have one. Okay, so we'll add that.
There's a USGS quadrangle map.
Okay,
I didn't see that.
okay.
And one of the, probably just as important as the ILSF calculations are either a DEP field data form.
Yep.
Or something similar.
Okay.
And that should have, you know, percent vegetative cover, all the hydric soil information.
Is that from the botanist or from the engineer?
That's the botanist.
Yeah.
He should, if he has that data, because one of the issues is this delineation was done in the winter.
Okay,
And DEP regulations are pretty clear that it's a big, they do not recommend a winter delineation.
as of, like, what's the beginning, like, if he did it again, when is the end of the winter for you?
Well,
Our new regulation is what, March 30th, 31st?
31st.
Okay, so we're past that now.
Yeah, so, and it's actually, you know, this is coming up to be a good time, because if there's any vernal pools, then you'll be able to have evidence of that during April and May.
Okay,
But just in general, it's just not a, you know, you don't, even if you know, looking at dead vegetation that may be there or dormant and you don't even see it,
sure.
people
sure.
will sometimes take core samples, but when you're dealing with ice, it's really hard to get
It's
a really
tougher.
good estimate.
Okay.
So that's something to consider, but having his data, there's a new update to the regulations for delineating wetlands that just came out, and there's an updated form that he could use.
Okay,
If he has the data already, you know, we could work
so
with that.
he needs, just so I know what I'm getting, because you know your end.
Yeah.
Is that, from the botanist, I need the calculations,
Mm-hmm.
and then, there was one other thing, or two other things?
There were a couple more, like this map wasn't included and stuff that I
Right, I
mentioned,
know the engineer
but
would need to do the contour lines.
The contour, yeah.
And that's like the engineer side, but I gotta go.
Would it be easier if Lynn just makes you want to just,
I have a list,
Okay.
but what I really want to ask about is regarding sections A and B. And I wish your botanist was here so we could ask about things like why are A and B not connected? Because it looks like, you know, there's 5 feet or maybe max 10 feet separating two of the flaggings.
Yeah.
And then we have the issue of the property right next to yours. Andrew Point, who's circuit rider for us for DEP, was looking over this as part of his regular, he looks through everything and makes sure everything's been sent. And viewing aerial photography, he noticed that the abutter has extensively cleared wetlands
The butter, which, to the north of?
to the north of you.
Yeah,
It's not-
I
yeah.
know that guy lives like in Florida, and his son was like, but he's been there forever.
Yeah, I think he bought it in 2008
Okay,
in the records.
okay,
But so that should have been a separate issue that you had no issue, dealing with.
right.
Unfortunately, some of the areas, he went up right by,
He came right up to the land?
came right up to your land.
Yeah, I know that
And that's gonna affect your delineation.
it is, okay, okay,
Because if there were wetlands right there,
yeah,
then this could all be actually part of a series of wetlands
I see what you're saying.
that he filled in.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So this is,
So what should I do?
Well, we're gonna have to get onto that property to see
Yeah.
what has been impacted.
Okay,
And we're in the process of doing that now.
okay,
Yeah. So what we need your botanist to do is to determine if there is any connection between what you guys are saying is an ILSF, isolated land subject to flooding, and that property. If there's not, then we don't have to worry about anything.
okay,
But if there is a connection, then it's gonna get really complex in determining what these actually are.
okay.
Well, what, worst case, they'd become a BVW, no?
Worst case scenario.
So couldn't, say, we can't get on that property for 2 years.
Mhm.
They don't want to let us on, we have to go through the court system to get out there. Could they just say, okay, we're gonna, instead of them waiting 2 years for us to find out what's going on in the abutter's property, could they just say, we're gonna call these BBWs and take it from there?
It's possible.
Just food for thought, just,
Okay.
Well, I mean, that would be worst case scenario, so, and that's what I'm trying to hope
Yeah.
to avoid, so it really.
no, we don't want to
yeah.
hold you up either, but.
That would actually be catastrophic, so that's why I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
if that's the case, then it is what it is, I guess. But I'll get whatever I need to get for you guys.
Yep,
So, the calculations from the botanist and the
Contour lines.
contour lines, the flooding map, you
Like I said,
have
Linda, you
those.
can- just give them
I'm
a-
gonna make you a
A list.
list.
Thank you.
And because, we've spent how long? 15 minutes talking, and I don't want you to have to go through this.
Sure,
I'll
sure,
send
sorry.
it to Tony.
Okay.
Tony will send it to you.
Thank you.
It'll
Hi,
just say,
Tony.
we need X, Y, and Z and you can give that to your botanist and
Okay.
engineer and everything. so you'll
Perfect,
know.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. I don't want to waste too much of your
No,
time.
no,
and
no,
stuff.
no, not at all. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I shouldn't be that ignorant about it, I just,
Nope,
learning as I
nope.
go.
I didn't even know what a BVW was. And I was always like, what is that? It just, you get into, I'm sure you have, in whatever field you do, you have acronyms that you use. so
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
from the
and it takes a
outside
while to
would
get used
know.
to, acclimated to everything, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
So,
Okay, thank you so much.
so do we want to continue to the next meeting, and then if you're
Yes,
not ready,
please.
you can just email Tony and say,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah,
the
could we?
11th, and then, what, 25th? So we'll continue to the 11th. If you don't have everything by then, we'll just,
No, I
continue
should,
to
I
the
should be
next
able to get by the 11th of next month, yeah, I should
think so.
definitely.
yeah, and hopefully we have some answers on
Next door.
the abutter's property.
Yeah, I don't talk to him often. We've been living there for a very, very long time. I think I might have talked to him once or twice, like in decades. So, but I really hope that his issues don't affect me unless, you know what I mean? I just don't want him. But, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Someone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to continue the discussion on the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 161 North Quincy Street until April 11th.
Second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous.
Thank you
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Do you want your plan back, or do you have a?
It's right there.
Yeah, I'll take it. Wow. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Tony, can you take a look at this? Real quick, just pass it down. Real quick.
All right, next on the agenda is discussion SE 084-553 on partial certificate of compliance located at 154 Brockton Avenue. The applicant asked to continue to the April 11th meeting. Before I take a vote on that, I just want to give a rundown of what's been going on the property. So at our last meeting, they continued to this meeting. Didn't give a reason why they continued. And when I was reviewing their application, I noticed a lot of paperwork that was missing. And I wanted to set up a conference call that Tim Warner, myself, Tony, Lisa Birch from, she's the attorney for Mento. Dan Mento was there, one of their workers who was on site during construction was also part of the call. And I basically wanted to eliminate them coming before us at this meeting and then bombarding them with all my concerns so that we wouldn't get anything accomplished at this meeting. So basically what we did, I went through the as-built that they provided, and I noticed there were, I would say about half of the special conditions were not followed. And the grading of the site, the as-built greatly differs what we approved at the meeting in April. And I wanted them to basically come before us and tell us why they did it. One of the special conditions is any changes made is supposed to be approved by this commission, and we were never notified of anything. Also, they added more square footage to the restoration area. The porch on the house, the steps to the deck go out, encroach into the 200-foot buffer. We didn't approve that. A small, probably 3 square foot section of the patio also extends into the buffer. We didn't approve that. So like I said, I wanted them, also the restoration area needs to be redone. Tim brought up that all the, or most of the restoration area, the plantings died. They were either eaten by deer or they died. So I wanted them, well, they were, because a lot of the special conditions that they missed revolve around notifying us of when the restoration was going to take place, types of plantings, where the plantings are going, types of soil used. So a lot of that stuff, now that they're going to be doing that restoration again, they can give us when they do the work again. But the big concern is the grading is completely different than what we approved. They added riprap in where, I'm assuming for slope stabilization, which we give a list of things that they can use for slope stabilization. Riprap isn't one of them. They did say at the meeting, though, that they were willing to take out the riprap. What else?
What else did they say on the meeting?
Nothing. I mean, we told them that Tim and I can't okay the changes they made. They have to come before us and explain to us why they did it. And we'll take
What was
it from
their
there.
answer?
I don't remember what their answer was. But I want them to come before us so we could and have everybody ask questions, not just Tim and I.
Sounds good.
So I think wasting our time talking about it any more than that is just,
Yep.
you know, I don't know what comments you guys have, but, you know, you have 2 weeks to to come up with, questions you have. And then we'll take it from there. As far as the restoration goes, their plan, I think, what do we have? Middle of May is when they can start doing the plantings?
They can start.
They can start now, I think.
No, the conditions, the special conditions, I think it's middle of May is what we have for a date.
Yeah,
Because that was one of
that's true.
the reasons why I wanted to have them meet tonight was they were going to ask us permission if they wanted to do the plantings earlier.
Oh.
They could ask us and we could either say yes or no.
Okay.
So, like I said, I want to get this moved along faster, and they continue.
And, yeah, dragging their feet a bit.
Now, you gotta fix the grading before you can even
I want
start
to.
the
That's why I
plant.
said I want to discuss that when they're here. I
Yeah.
don't want to waste. I don't want to waste any. We've already
Done a lot, yeah.
done, a lot. We shouldn't have to.
Alrighty.
I agree.
Somebody want to make a motion to continue to the April 11th meeting?
I'll make a motion to continue SE 084-553 to April 11th meeting.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, next up is discussion and possible vote on revised NOI checklist. Lynn?
So given the new rules and regulations that we created, I realized on the checklist there were a number of things that needed to be changed. So, for example, we have color coding for, but there's no color coding indicating no disturbance zone or the no build. And we also have that change where we have the issue where there's a typo in the bylaw that was available, so now there's 200 feet for rivers and lakes and ponds. So those were the types of things that I updated, just sort of small little things that you guys can take a look at. Oh, and there's also clarification because we also have the tree regulation. So when it comes to sidewalks, there's we're putting in a thing where they have to also flag any trees that are 5 inches or greater in diameter.
Okay.
And I think just cleaned up a little bit of the language in those sections there. Oh, and the other thing was an acknowledgement that they have read the town bylaws and our regulations. I added that as a new thing.
Which requires a signature.
Requires a
Yep.
signature.
Yep.
So that's the last page.
Excellent.
But all the other forms are the same.
Anybody have any comments?
No, I think she's very thorough. And it is a living document, and it'll probably need to be updated as we go through and improve and enhance.
Yeah. And I think we need one for an ANRAD. I was kind of going through it and,
I actually had one I started quite a while ago, which I will be happy to see what you come up with.
well, all I did was I took this and then anything that had to do with a proposed project, get rid of it. And like
Yeah.
it's going to be half the size of this checklist.
Yeah.
Because you don't need a
Should be
bunch of
about a
stuff.
quarter of the
No.
size, yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so I want to make a motion to approve the revisions.
I'll make a motion to approve the revisions discussed tonight to the checklist.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye, unanimous. All right, permits and site visits. Tim did a site visit to 833 Washington Street, the Buddhist temple, on Saturday. He said everything looked good. He said the only issue was that they need to move where they're washing out the concrete. I guess they were doing it close to some of the straw wattles with erosion control. And he wants to make sure if they do it again, nothing washes over, so. they've been told about that, and that was it. When they started pumping, Alex drove by and saw that they were pumping, we're getting ready to pump without using a dirt bag, so we reached out to Brad Holmes, we reached out to the contractor, and they began pumping into a dirt bag.
Excellent.
Good.
Tony, what do we have for site visits coming up that we need to set up? Patterson Street?
Yeah.
What do we have for dates for that?
The 31st, I believe, is one of the dates. If you guys can do Friday.
What is it?
We going to Patterson again?
It's for so they can
COC?
come in for a CLC?
Oh, that
Okay.
other side. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
yeah.
Does that work for everyone?
Next week.
I don't have my.
We're doing
book
afternoon,
right
or?
now.
Huh?
I don't have my book right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you do it?
Yeah, what
What
time,
day?
though?
5 o'clock would be good.
At what day?
Oh, it's 31st, which is a Friday.
Friday? Works for me.
What, 19 Patterson? What number is it?
Was it 66?
66
Stonegate.
Stonegate
okay.
condos.
Okay, I know.
Right across from the person's farm.
Those are just the
Oh,
suggested
please.
times I gave.
So you want to do it Friday at 5?
Friday, the 31st at 5?
Mm-hmm.
Going once?
Yeah, that
going
works.
twice?
That works.
So. all
Did
right.
we end up getting anything from them? Okay.
No, I think he wants to talk first with you guys on the sidewalk, and then he's gonna come to me with paperwork.
Okay.
Can you get a copy of the plan form, just so you have something to
I
Look at.
think I provided them,
from the NOI?
yeah. I think I already did that and gave that to them when I was out there.
Oh, okay.
And we are meeting with Mr. Burke or Mr.,
I believe it's Mr. Burke.
okay,
It's one of the trustees. I know.
all right,
I've been working with Mr. Burke, but
okay,
he said it would be someone there.
okay. We just didn't know who to meet up with and go, hello.
Oh, and you did a site walk yesterday.
Yeah, with me and Tim.
Where'd you go?
We went to, I forget the number, it was on Brockton Ave.
'It was something 06,
605.
605, yeah.
Yeah, 605, 607, right? 607?
605 through 607.
Yep, Brockton Ave. Me and Tim went out there, well, we got a call, Tony let us know that she received a call from, one of the neighbors was complaining that somebody was cutting down like trees. Me and Tim went out there and they were just
Well, cutting trees that they thought were in a
Yeah.
wetland.
cutting trees that they thought were in a wetland, and we went out there. They weren't near a wetland. They were just cleaning up the backyard, like debris, brush from winter, and just gonna have a burn.
Where's 605, 607 Brockton Ave?
It's gonna
Give me a
be
landmark.
It's to the right.
Constitution Ave.
To the, yeah, right across from.
Oh, all right,
yeah.
I know Constitution, yeah.
So we went out there, looked, everything looked fine. They weren't near a wetland
Or buffer.
cut- Oh yeah, or cut, and they weren't cutting any big trees or anything. They were just trimming up some.
Yeah, Tim said they were
Low-hanging
basically
branches.
raking up some brush and stuff
Yeah.
like that, cleaning up all the deadfall.
Good to know, good to know that neighbors are watching.
What about the other two properties? Anything when we can,
Well, something like-
okay. So there's two other properties that we're gonna do sidewalks on. Tony's just reaching out to the property owners and,
Coming up,
yep.
2 new properties?
Well, no, two other properties that we have to take a look at
Oh, fun.
One on Brock,
for potential issues.
Route 18, and then what's the other one?
The one that you brought up.
744.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. Yep.
744 Brockton Avenue?
744 Randolph. Or, Yeah, 744 Randolph, right?
I think so.
Okay, well.
No meeting minutes to approve tonight. Correspondence, there was a letter in the packets from planning board. Oh, get more.
Do we all get copies of this? Because I seem to always be missing stuff.
Did you, well, I think he's talking about this one. Did you get
Yeah.
this one?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Keep moving my stuff around.
No, this is
So
the
many
letter.
files.
Did I send it?
Oh, I got this one, yep. Okay, dokey. Thank you,
It's all
I'm
the same
sorry.
stuff.
Apologies. Oh, welcome.
It's all the same stuff.
Okay.
So take a look at this, we can discuss it at the next meeting. I think Kathy will be the one to ask questions about this property, so she was on the board when they came before us before.
Okay.
So that's it for correspondence. Just a quick heads up. Tim and I completed the MACC classes. Alex is gonna finish his on the 31st.
Thursday.
So you guys- I know, what class are you taking?
I think it's like 205 or something.
Okay, I
It's an
know,
elective.
I know, is that sediment and erosion control?
Yes, sediment
I
and
know,
erosion control.
and I know Kathy took a couple classes this month. I don't know, did anybody else take any classes?
No, I took one last month, I think it was on the beavers.
Yeah, I got an email for Tim, Alex, and myself, so.
Okay.
Classes are good to take.
Yes,
Yeah, I learned a lot from the writing effective orders.
do you understand what we're talking about?
I have a better understanding,
Thank you.
yeah.
The erosion and sedimentation control, I thought was a good class.
I know. I love the erosion. I'm trying to think of the two gentlemen that put that on, they were awesome. I never learned so much about sediment and erosion control. That was so exciting.
All right, so anybody have anything else to bring up?
I
Do we
do.
want to talk about the, what we talked about with the
Oh, you want to talk about,
267?
yeah, you want to talk about that a little bit more?
Yeah.
Correspondence?
So Paul and I got an email from Andrew Poynt, DEP. He was overlooking, I mentioned this earlier, he overlooked the application for 161, and he noticed that there was about an acre of wetlands that had been destroyed in the parcel just north of that. I had a phone conversation with him about this, and while he was showing me it on Mass Mapper, he found another lot that had also extensive damage. And I outlined that in the letter that I sent to Tony and Paul about our conversation. So I think I provided the names of the lots and the two companies that own them. He thinks the damage was done, but there's two types of aerial photography files that we overlaid. One was a 2013-2014 aerial image, and then a 2019 aerial image, and so it was done sometime between this time period. I went and looked back I looked at all the meeting minutes from 2013 to 2019, and there were 3 mentions of this property. One was a fire that occurred that went into Ames Knoll. That was back in 2013. 2014, there was a letter from DEP to the Board of Health regarding a company on their site, and then they had filed an RDA in 2019 but withdrew it. I don't see anything else from them. I don't know if there's anything between 2008 and 2013, but I would imagine that any NOI or whatever would have expired long before then, if they had it. So we need to he has asked us to get the owner's permission to go on the property and take photos. If we're able to get access to by public property, we could, but I don't think we will be able to because it's in an area that's inaccessible, unless you're on 161. And he also mentioned that any photos that we take should be done by a camera that's owned by the commission, not our own personal cell phones. Because if it goes to court, our cell phones would be evidence and taken away from us. And we'd like a report, and he's willing to come join us and help us with anything that we need.
That would be good.
Yeah.
It's always good to have DEP.
Jean,
Yes.
you grew up in this area, didn't you?
I did. I grew up at 101 North Quincy, and my grandparents' farm was down the street from me.
Have you ever been out to this property back when,
Yes, many, many times when I was a kid.
I don't want to date you or anything like that. so-
Yeah.
What about a
I'm not
drought?
ashamed to say I am 71 years old, I don't care. I lived there up until I was 10, so yes, I used
Somebody
to
has
tromp
it.
through the
Yeah.
fields and the woods, yep. And as memory serves me correctly, that area up on North Quincy Street, there were many, many little streams, whether they be intermittent or not, I mean, I don't know. I was 10 at the time, but we could skate from one end to the other without going out onto the street, so I know there were connections somehow, somewhere.
And there's got to be springs and stuff out there too, no?
I know there were wells out there. My
Yeah.
grandparents had a couple of wells. I know my neighbors who live where the condos are now, the Gables condos, there were wells on that property as well too, growing up. My godfather owned that property, so, yeah. I'm pretty familiar with it. The West, Denny West, behind there. There was Thompson's Egg Farm behind there, abutting 169 North Quincy, so
I don't think there's
there
a
were chicken
connection
houses out there.
there. There should be connecting wetlands right in there. This is where the ILS,
Yeah.
they're saying.
I think I gave you a screenshot, Lynn, of the photo that I took
Oh, yeah.
from Mass Mapper that gives you an overlay of what the connection was. So,
Yep.
I mean, you can clearly see there was, at one time somehow,
But this is based on current?
yes. That's what I got off Mass Mapper.
I don't know where the lot clearing was
If I had to
here
get,
in lot 10, but you
Yeah.
mentioned it was done there. I mean, the whole lot looks like it's just been bulldozed.
Yeah.
Except
So-
for this little patch up here, this tiny little patch.
Towards the front?
Yeah, closer to the street.
We're gonna need to see how
On
fast
what
we
one?
can get out there and
So there's two lots. It's at 267. There's
Get
a
onto the
bunch
Is that
of-
property.
at the, closer to Chestnut Street?
267.
no.
Yeah.
No,
No?
Do you know where
Oh,
Two Gals Restaurant is?
Yeah, behind
Right up
that.
in there.
Okay.
yeah. So this is 161.
Mhm.
267 is broken
Yeah.
up into a bunch of parcels, but this is lot
Yeah,
6
it
and
goes
lot
way
10.
out back, right?
Yeah,
That
way
area?
out back, and this is
Yeah.
Ames Knoll.
What's your availability for next week?
I'm available, I don't know, I'm pretty much around.
Everyone?
I can't do Tuesday.
When's town meeting?
Tuesday.
So forget Tuesday.
I can't do Tuesday,
No, no.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it is Monday, the 3rd. So then any day but Monday, I'm good. In the afternoon.
I can only do that end of the week, I think.
How's Thursday looking for people?
Thursday, Friday?
Friday, we got the 5 o'clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Thursday's open. Does anybody have Thursday plans?
It's this Friday for the sidewalk.
Oh, this?
This Friday. It's not opposed to tomorrow.
31st.
Oh, yeah.
No, next Friday. I don't want to be
Oh, no.
there after.
I could do Thursday, but I leave on Friday of this week. It's got to be this week.
No.
You leave a week going.
St. Louis.
Where are you going?
St. Louis.
St.
You
Louis.
got some nice barbecue?
I'm gonna try. Yeah, it's a last
What
minute
time
thing.
works for everyone?
Same, to do around 5 o'clock. Now we're back to more daylight.
which is nice.
Because I want to try and get out there
And
as
that's
fast as
on
we can. I don't
Thursday or
want
Friday.
to hold up these guys because of that,
Sounds good.
if there's a reason to.
Yeah.
That's all I have. Anybody else?
I do. Oh, sorry.
The floor is yours.
Okay. So one of the things as we were going through this past year has been wicked as far as updating, getting NOI plans. We're talking about an ANRAD. We did the fees. We've got regulations. So I want to kind of like get an idea from an accounting perspective, how our account is looking, you know, on like a quarterly basis with our expenses versus our income. And if it could be a little more detailed, because I think at one time, we got some sort of printout.
Yeah, we
which
got
did-
one like,
a year ago, and it didn't make any sense to me, because I'm looking at it and going, I don't understand this accounting system, but, so I was wondering if there was some way we could kind of get a statement on a quarterly basis of the Concom expenses and revenues with some sort of detail. So in other words, if we had to have an expense charged off for, say, like Alex's classes, you know, it would kind of like be spelled out so we could get an overview.
Come July 1, we have $2,500 in that account. Everything goes for like our shirts, our bills, our classes, everything comes out of that $2,500.
Right, but I'm saying, the balance in the, is that the balance in the account?
That's the balance for the year, and then we have a separate account, which has, I think, $32,000 in it right now.
Why do we have two
Change.
separate, I know I'm not
So-
understanding the two separate accounts, but,
It's a long story, and I'm
Okay.
more than happy to explain it to you when we're, like, I can ask accounting, and then he can explain it to me, and I can relay it back to you in a better term.
so why don't we wait till the next meeting?
Yeah, and I'll be able to explain it better.
okay, because, I mean, you know, it's just part of the MACC program. If you paid, I don't remember what class it was she covered on, you know, conservation, how we are funded not by town residents, we are self-funded itself. So that's what I want to kind of see, you know, what our operating expenses have been, how we're trending. I'd like to just kind of see that on a regular basis. And the budgeting, two separate accounts, we'll get into that at the next
I
meeting.
can
Okay.
explain that
Yep,
to you.
that's fine, that works.
Oh, and one of the things I was reading on this lawyer's blog was about the need for performance standards in our regulations. So I would like to have more performance standards for things like the rivers, ponds, and lakes. So if we could consider having a hearing about that.
What do you want to do, so we gotta do, what, 30-day notice on that?
21 days.
21 days, I'm sorry, 21
Yeah.
days.
So it would be the end of April.
So we do it for our second April meeting.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yep,
What's the date on that second meeting?
24th, 25th, right? Anybody have anything else?
I think we covered everything.
Speak now, or forever hold your peace.
Till the next meeting.
Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.